stand if you're able for the reading. Our reading today comes from Psalm 32. The one whose wrongdoing is forgiven, whose sin is covered over, is truly happy. The one the Lord doesn't consider guilty and in whose spirit there is no dishonesty, that one is truly happy. When I kept quiet, my bones wore out. I was groaning all day long, every day, every night, because your hand was heavy upon me. My energy was sapped as if in a summer drought. So I admitted my sins to you, and I didn't conceal my guilt. I'll confess my sins to the Lord, is what I said. Then you removed the guilt of my sin. That's why all faithful should pray to you during troubled times, so the great flood of waters won't reach you. You are my secret hideout. You protect me from trouble. You surround me with songs of rescue. I will instruct you and teach you about the direction you should go. I'll advise you and keep my eye on you. Don't be like some senseless horse or mule whose movement must be controlled with a bit and bridle. Don't be anything like that. The pain of the wicked is severe, but faithful love surrounds the one who trusts the Lord. You who are righteous, rejoice in the Lord and be glad. All you whose hearts are right, sing out for joy. The word of God for the people of God. Praise thanks be to God.
So I have a couple of friends from over in Franklin that celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary the other day. And they went to an axe bar. And have you heard about these axe bars? Now, I'm not, and when I'm saying this, I'm not saying, axe bar, like asking a question. How you doing? That's pretty normal, right? It's an axe bar, A-X-E, where you throw an axe at a target. This is a real thing. They're really catching on in the city, apparently. Probably because they weren't raised in the country. We just did that out in the backyard all the time. But no, this is a real thing. And if you want to be pretty well entertained, you can pull up some videos on YouTube or whatever on the internet, and it must be real because I saw it on the internet. And so, but there's one, I think it even made it on Good Morning in America or something like this, where they were doing a report on it and had a picture of a young lady who was throwing an axe, and she threw it down so it hit the floor before it actually hit the target. So it hit the floor, bounced off the wall, and came back to her, and she dumped and just barely missed her. So it's really interesting. I was like, wait, what's the Darwin Award? What was that called? And so, but if we want to get a group together, there's one over in Pigeon Forge. It's called Yeehaw Brewing. Of course it is. I saw that, you pull up to see if there's any around you, right? And I know there's one down in Clayton, but I went, I wonder if there's another one around us. And there is a place called Yeehaw Brewing in Pigeon Forge where you can do this. So I thought, oh, that's too good. But honestly, I did this out back, right? Out in the backyard when I was a kid. On the farm, you stick a stump out there and you kind of line up on it and, usually start off with a hatchet or something small, throw it at it. Because I was in the Boy Scouts and you want to impress your friends around the campfire. And so, you practice at it and sometimes you can get pretty good at it. And so then you graduate to the axe with the long handle, right? And so the ones that they do in the bars, they're actually pretty balanced and, actually it's not as hard as it seems like it might be. But sometimes with those big old long handles on them, you just never know where they were going to land. And so that was always entertaining. And so after a while, you get pretty good at that. And you're like, oh, man, I'm pretty good at this. Maybe I could hit a moving target. And you notice that all the pets have cleared out. And you're not about to throw it at that mean bull out in the back pasture, because that's not going to turn out well. So anyway, that lasted for a little while, and I kind of moved on to something else. But I guess I can see the appeal. But it's really kind of interesting because it plays into our psalm today. Where it talks about confessing our sins. And it talks about actually different levels of sin in the psalm. I don't know if you picked up on that. You may want to go back and look into that a little bit different, but there are 3 different levels of sin that we see in the psalm. There's sort of the basic level, which means, and this ties right into that story, to miss the mark, right? When you miss the mark, things can still go pretty haywire. Things can still get pretty scary. And we might need restoration or maybe even medical attention from those situations, right? And so then the next level is, in the psalm also, Psalm 32 also uses this, the Hebrew word for willful rebellion. And you can kind of see the difference, right? Where, the first one you're like, you're giving it the good old-fashioned go and you just blow it. You just miss the mark. You just don't quite do it like you really wanted to have it done. But then this next step is, oh yeah, I meant to miss that. I meant to hit my sister's toy over there. That's what I meant. And then the third, it goes even deeper in the psalm and in the Hebrew terminology. It means destructive disobedience. And you can see how this could be a progression, right? How one's like, oh, well, I missed the mark, whatever. Well, I'm just going to do it on purpose next time. And then after a while, it turns into habit. And then before you know it, it becomes who we are. And it's really hard to find our way back, to that place where we're hitting the mark. We're hitting the place of putting it in that bullseye every time. And so what does God say about putting it in the bullseye? What did Jesus remind us putting it in the bullseye means? To love God. To love others. To love ourselves. But sometimes we miss the mark, don't we? But the good news is there's power in fessing up. And this season's all about fessing up, isn't it? This season of Lent is about letting things go and confessing. Or as we like to say, fessing up. Now, I found it really interesting that fessing up is in Webster's dictionary. Do you know that? I know. It's like what? But it's in Webster's dictionary and in other dictionaries as well. But fess up is defined as to confess or tell the truth. And I like the examples that they give too. So, like when you fess up, you tell your friend how much you lost in Vegas. Or when you fess up, you admit to your friend that you lost her favorite sweater that she lent you. And it's so funny, isn't it? But sometimes we don't like to confess because it makes us feel bad. We're like, because we know that there's going to be that awkward moment at least, right? There's going to be an awkward moment, or maybe even that person might get mad at us or might not want to speak to us, or worse. And we hear stories about situations like that, where there is a family feud that's going on. But it seems like every time that we see, maybe even generations later, that the feuds are broken, where does it come from? Confession and forgiveness. It comes from fessing up and saying, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do those things to you and to your family, to the others. I didn't mean to miss the mark of living out God's love in the world. But through the fessing up comes restoration. Can come forgiveness. You know, I believe that some of the most powerful words in the English language are I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 3 other words that are equally as powerful are I forgive you. It's freeing, really. It's freeing to be able to say those words. But it isn't easy a lot of times. And so we stay silent. We don't say those words that maybe we wish that we could say. That we could experience restoration and redemption. And the psalm reminds us that sometimes when we hang on to that for so long, our weariness goes deep into our bones, and it just wears us out. You see, silence is a rejection of grace. Let me say that again. Silence can be a rejection of grace. When we need to say the words, I'm sorry, or we need to say the words that you're forgiven, when we're silent in those moments, we're missing the mark of grace. So this is the season. This is the season for confession. But it's also the season to be thankful for forgiveness. The good news is that God is always there. God is always ready to listen and to hear. Because God knows that when we say those words, when we fess up, we're the ones that are restored. We're the ones that get to experience new life. And today is a time that we get to confess. Today is a time where we celebrate in thanksgiving. And sometimes it feels like those two are diametrically opposed, that they just don't go together. But I think we can find that when we fess up, relationships are restored. That is when we're most thankful. And so today, as we celebrate communion, we've often heard of the bread and wine as the Eucharist, coming from the Greek word Eucharistepo, which means thanksgiving, or to give thanks. So today we get to give thanks to God for restoring us to a beautiful relationship, for forgiving us and letting us be healed. Because when we don't fess up, we're the ones that are hurt and end up in the wilderness wondering where God is. But in reality, God is with us.